to the human heart can only be opened from the inside. And we especially appreciate how true that is when we try to reach someone's heart and they're not ready to be reached yet. And that happens in the field of personal development, of life coaching. You see, sometimes we want to share a concept that we believe in. We know it works because when we did it, it worked for us. But if you're a life coach, be careful. And if you're somebody who is interested in the field of personal development, maybe you're interested in having a life coach. What we're about to talk about is valuable no matter which side of the coaching table you're on. So here's what's true. People's beliefs are their beliefs. And when they have those beliefs with feeling, it is not fun to try to change them prematurely. We have to wait until that door to the heart is opened. So play the long game. If you're the coach, don't assume that just because you know something is good or something works, that it's going to be well received. And if you're the one asking for advice, make sure you get a coach that's willing to be patient and work at your speed and not just force their opinions on you. Now, if you're shopping for a life coach and you find one who says, well, let me tell you what I would do, that may not be a good fit for you. Because you see, what they're doing is they're imposing personality instead of principle. And a far better approach is to say, well, if you're ready to do things differently than you have done them in the past, with the idea that you may get different results, here's something that you want to try. And then they'll lay out a principle, something that is tested over time, that has been proven true again and again. And in the presence of that kind of teaching or coaching, you can perhaps make progress toward personal development. It's important to realize, though, that we all have our own unique personalities, and we're okay just the way we are. None of us really need to be fixed. We need to gradually make decisions over the course of our life that will produce results, and that process can't be hurried. It has to happen at the pace that we're ready to take. Another thing that happens that disrupts the chemistry between a coach and someone that is being mentored is the idea that the principles don't work. And people come back and say that. They say, what you told me to do, I did it, and it didn't work. Well, likely what's actually happening is that they did their best to apply it to the degree that they were ready to apply it. But you see, the complete application of a truth or of a time-tested principle results in a change. It gets the results that we're waiting for. But what often happens is that people hear the suggestion and then they go and they try to do what they heard, but there's a little bit of deviation. And just like lines that are not parallel end up becoming divergent, when we're a little bit off in applying the advice or the principle, we end up not getting the results. We can be way off. There's a best-selling book about drawing that makes the point in my mind. It's called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards. And in that book, she talks about people that want to learn to draw. And so just for the sake of the parallel here, somebody who comes to an artist wanting to learn to draw realistically is similar to somebody that comes to a life coach wanting different principles to work with. But sometimes the teacher will say, here's how you draw a face, now you try it. And they look at the model and they're told to draw what they see. But what ends up happening is the person sees a nose, and then instead of drawing the nose that they see, they draw a symbol for a nose. And it's possibly the symbol they've always drawn. And then when they go to draw the eyes, instead of drawing the eyes that they see, they draw a symbol for eyes. Again, perhaps one that's from habit. And what ends up happening is that their drawing doesn't look anything like the model. Now that's okay. In fact, impressionistic art has a market. You don't have to be able to draw realistically. in order to become a published artist. But if you want to get really good at realistic drawing, you need to go back to your teacher and say, I tried to do it, but I must have gotten off somewhere. And a patient artist will teach the student again. Let me show you what I meant about how to draw what you see. The same is true with personal development. You see, a coach that's patient is going to be willing to invest time and to go back over the principles and to reassure the person that it wasn't the principle that failed, it was the application of the principle. But you see how that has to be done very delicately, very carefully, because people come with a lot of insecurities. They come with beliefs that don't change overnight. And if we're not patient, if we're not willing to invest in them, then the whole process begins to break down. So some reminders there. Whichever side of the coaching table you're on, if you're a coach, be willing to invest in the person, play the long game, and wait until that door to their heart opens. And then if you're the person interested in coaching, be aware that sometimes the reason the principles that you were taught didn't work is not because those principles aren't true. It's because you got a little bit off in your application. Hopefully these reminders will make the whole relationship between coach and the person being mentored go much better. And we'll look forward to sharing more tips in future episodes.